Hello and welcome back to Dan's All About Arsenal 1886. Now, I hope you're all impressed with this. It's 6:20 in the morning. I recorded this last night, but the audio didn't record, so I've got to do it all again. Part of the fun of learning how to work with YouTube and StreamYard. So we start again, but I wanted to get this video done and get it out there before, obviously, tonight's game. It's a huge game, and I don't think people underestimating this opponent. They're one hell of a team, a defensive unit. We've got to be really, really careful at. So I think for anyone who's going to the game tonight, comment below, let me know you're going. I'm going to be there. I think we all need to take our singing voices. We need to really get behind the team tonight because I think it's going to be the toughest opponent we've faced this season. They are a formidable team, and Diego Simeone, he's one hell of a manager. And it's got a few quick fire facts we need to touch on because we need to see, who we're up against. He's a very experienced manager, and I didn't realise this until kind of doing a little bit of research. But he's been there 14 years, since 2011, and he has won a fair bit. Bearing in mind he's got the likes of the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas of the world in that same kind of league, and he's no fool, from that point of view. So from what he's won, just which we have to be very careful on. So he's won 2 La Liga titles, the Copa del Rey, the Super Copa, the UEFA Europa League as well, twice, and the UEFA Super Cup twice. They've got to the final of the Champions League twice in 2014, 2016. They haven't won either. But, getting there is half the battle. And he's one of the most, or he is the most successful manager in their history. So he's no fool, guys. From that point of view, we've got to be super careful and really get behind the team. And sometimes we know how it's like, in the Emirates. We've got fantastic support, but we sometimes go a bit quiet if we're not getting off to a quick start. So I think we do really need to get behind everyone today. Bring your voices, bring your cheers, bring your claps, and get behind the boys tonight because it's going to be a tough game. And I think I'm looking forward to it. A little bit of apprehension, a little bit of nerves, but I think we'll be okay in the end. But I think it's going to be a tough one. They're a very tough defensive counter-attacking team that we really do need to, keep an eye on. Now I know I've got every faith in how we're going to set up tonight. And Arteta, obviously, he's a great manager, but he's one of his big opponents. He very much respects the guy, so I think that's going to be kind of part of it, how he sets up tonight. But we're going to go through that in the slideshow. We're going to have a look at kind of some of the sort of key players we've got to kind of keep an eye out for as well. But if you're watching this, you need to help me out here. We're going to get a slideshow on. This is obviously what we're looking at, Clash of the Titans here, really, from that point of view. 2 big personalities, big managers. But before we get into it, just make sure you subscribe. If you're listening to this first time, I need your help. It's a small channel, but we're building. We're going from there, strength to strength. We've got, post-match as well to be coming following this game. And obviously, we're trying to do pre-match in all the games coming up as well as some individual kind of videos that we're putting out for different content, which has been really popular as well. So we're going to keep kind of grinding. We're going to get to that 1,000 subs. That's very much the aim, but for now, we'll take up to 100. We've got to start somewhere. So if you can help out, if you watch this, just click it. It's free to subscribe, and we'll go from there. But right, next slide, and what I want to get into. So we've got, obviously, the current table. Obviously, 2 games in. There's 6 teams who have won both games, Arsenal being one of them, which is a great solid start. 2 wins from 2. We've scored 4 goals, conceded none, I think, which is really important to note. When you look at Atletico Madrid, they've had some big games. They lost against Liverpool, 3-2, but they're conceding goals. So I think they've scored 7, conceded 4. So we know that there is ways of beating them, ways of scoring, and we need to be on our best behaviour, best game tonight from that point of view. But we can see the likes of Bayern Munich who have been scoring for fun. Real Madrid up there at number 2, PSG, Inter, Arsenal. We're up there with, the top clubs at the moment. Dortmund and Man City are not far. I mean, Tottenham's floating around there as well, but, with 1 win, 1 draw. So let's see how we go. But I think as the competition goes on, we'll see where the big boys are and then where people fall. We done well last year to get through on the top 8, and I think we'll, repeat that. But these are the games we've got to kind of be careful on. These are the ones that we could trip up on. And we don't want to be losing points now, but we're on a really good run, really good form, as we all know from watching it every week in, week out. So let's go from the next. Couple of key players I sort of mentioned. So shots on target, obviously, we've got the likes of Mbappe, Kane, and Julian Alvarez, obviously, we're facing tonight. So he's going to be one of the key players. So we've got 3 shots per game. So something I wanted to kind of note on when looking through who's lining up tonight. Interceptions as well. Conor Gallagher was up there as well. So he's obviously midfield one to watch as well. But obviously we've got your Rice, your Supermendy. Realistically, you're probably your Eze who's going to start for us. So we're going to have to control that midfield, I think, to keep tempo up, which Supermendy is extremely good at. So, and he's been one hell of a player so far this season. But we do have our defense. Defense has been unreal with this man at the back, David Raya. 100%, record from that point of view. Hasn't conceded a single goal, which is just unbelievable. So let's keep that going. We don't want to concede, and I think if we can stay strong at the back, I think throughout the whole season, we've conceded 3 goals so far in the Prem, nothing in Europe, so we're doing pretty damn well. So looking at the team and what we potentially would see the lineup, very identical to what we saw on Saturday. Again, we did create chances. We didn't maybe finish as much, but we got into the game. But we're at home in Europe. Teams are a bit more open, although we know the team we're facing are very much a 4-4-2, very tight, very compact, very counter-attacking kind of team. So we do have to watch what we're going to face, and you'll find it's going to be a nervous, I think, 10, 20 minutes when we start until we settle into the game. I think that's kind of how it's going to go, because we don't want to give anything away. They're not going to give anything away either. So it's going to be a chess match, I think, as we start. But as the game goes on, as we know, it'll open up. There'll be a bit more space normally to play with. So it'll be interesting to see how our boys play. But we've got a good squad. I don't think it's our 100% best 11 because we've still got people to come back from injuries, we know. We've got your Havertz from that way. Madueke, obviously, still coming back as more of a direct player, but in for like a Saka or where Trossard would be potentially on the left. So we've got options there down the line, but this is what we're working with today. If you agree with the lineup, let me know down and comment below. Any changes you would make, let me know as well, because it's always interesting to get your thoughts on this as well, because, hey, huge game. This is the sort of lineup that's expected potentially for these guys as well. They have got other players, obviously, got a decent, strong bench. I don't know the players as well, obviously, as the Arsenal, but Julian Alvarez, obviously, ex-Man City player, very, very strong. And he's been scoring for fun, shots on target, as we know, we just touched on as well. They've got a really good keeper, Oblak, so he's their captain normally as well from that point of view. But obviously, they've got a solid defence at the back there as well. And is it going to see people like Griezmann? He's obviously getting slightly older now, but he's still very much in the squad, number 7 for them, and he's one of their highest goal scorers, I think, in their team. So watch that. So they do have options to come off the bench. But moving on from there, the head-to-head, I think, is always interesting, and this is where it makes it more of an interesting one. We haven't faced each other often. We've won one, which was a friendly 2-1 back in 2009. You've got 2018, obviously we faced each other twice, and we unfortunately drew one, lost one. So it's a big game. We've done extremely well against Spanish sides. I think we've beat 6 Spanish sides in a row from that point of view when we faced sort of Spanish teams. Let's continue that going from there. So, but interesting head-to-head stats there. Predictions for tonight. Obviously, the weekend was very similar. I kind of expected a 2-0 against Fulham. Obviously, Fulham defended extremely well. We come up against another really good defensive unit, but I do think they will leave themselves a bit more open because that's how the European sides do play. They're very back and forth football. So when they're counter-attacking, we need to be hitting them on the transition and countering back from that point of view. I see it a very back and forth game. I think it's going to be, it's extremely tough. But 2-0 tonight. What's your predictions? Let me know. Put it down below, and let's see where we end up this evening. Obviously, we had the press conference as well with Mikel Arteta. So just a couple of interesting points to touch on. I don't go too much, but there were some questions that were taken to him. And if you haven't seen it, read it, heard it, you can go onto the Arsenal website and see word for word what Mikel Arteta said. But there was touching a couple of bits here. Pierre Hincapié, we thought he was going to be back on Saturday, but he said he will be available. I think the Fulham game was just a bit too early for him. So we had another 2 very good sessions, and now he's ready to go. So could we see him switch in? I'd be surprised if he started, but he is there as another option, along with Lewis Skelly on that left-hand side of the defence. But he just gives us maybe another option, something the opponent hasn't seen with us from that point of view, because we know he's quite, again, aggressive at getting forward, slightly different to Calafiori. But Calafiori's been playing extremely well, all season. So he's all over the park. He's given us good options going forward. with that inverted left role, but he's all over the shop. So I think he's hard to predict of what he's going to do, and I think he could be really important for us. But he's also a good option off the bench. Maybe if it's not working, if you haven't seen him been playing with Arsenal in Capio, it'll be a good one to throw as a bit of a curveball for Simeone as well to work out what he's going to do. But we know, I think Arteta highly rates Simeone and what he does, very respectful, about what he's achieved at Atletico Madrid. Being one of the longest serving manager. It's quite rare nowadays, like Arteta, 5 coming up 6 years. He's one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League. 14 years for Simeone. It's huge, and how much the club back him as well. So that's why I'm nervous but excited about tonight, especially being in the crowd. It's going to be a great night. We need to bring it all and leave it out on the table and just come back with a win. 1-2-0. I'd take it now. So let's see if there's any other interesting bits from the press conference today. And I want to kind of touch more on Atletico Madrid. So one of the questions was on whether he had inspired by Simeone's culture at Atletico. Arteta's answer was no. I think that I got that done more through my experience and my beliefs, and especially my understanding of Arsenal and this football club and my experience here. I think to put a different context to this one is extremely difficult. And at the end, I think you have to be authentic to your beliefs, your way of dealing with people, especially when is the most important thing when you talk about culture. Slowly you have an idea, and after that, sometimes you change the trajectory a little bit to understand what is best for the club. Okay, yeah, interesting stuff. Let's go down. Let's have a look, see what else is there. On whether results elsewhere add to spring to our step in training. He hasn't noticed. Obviously, there is a lot of narrative afterwards, but that's it. Every game in this league is a must-win and a very difficult game to win. We're all very appreciative of that, so don't get carried away with any of that. I think he's protecting himself there, from that point of view, saying, look, we're prepared, we're ready for it, but, until we get there, we don't know what's going to happen from that point of view. And interesting question here on why Simeone's team is so difficult to play against. So Arteta says, first of all, the willingness to win. You can sense it in every ball, in every single yard, the way they play. So it's about how they compete and after how they play. I think there are two different things, or very different things, and in order to have to analyse that, what they are, a level of organisation is really high, which is always difficult to play against. The level of discipline is really high, and then they have acquired a lot of talent throughout the years, and are very specific for their needs and the way they want to play, and they are very, very good at exploiting those opportunities. It's it's an interesting one. Arteta was also asked if Simeone would be successful in the Premier League. If he works in the Champions League, which is the highest competition in Europe, he can do it anywhere. I don't know. You have to come here and try it and feel it. But I'm very sure his know-how is unbelievable, and his character and willingness will take him there. That's interesting from that point of view, because I don't think he'd ever come over, but I mean, he'd be a hell of a manager to have here. He's competed with the top boys, from that point of view. I think they're sitting somewhere around fourth, I think, in La Liga at the moment. But they've had a bit of hit and miss from that point of view, and it'll be interesting to see how we stack up tonight. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a tough game tonight, guys. But obviously, I want to hear your thoughts. Obviously, we're going to put this out super early, so I can appreciate if everyone can get behind. If you haven't subscribed, get the bell up. I would be doing a match day vlog at some point, which will probably be uploaded tomorrow. I may try to do it if I can have the signal today and everything else. But it's going to be a big build-up. Obviously, be there. 8 o'clock kickoff tonight at the Emirates. It's going to be a fantastic game. Looking forward to it. And all I can say is, come on, you Gunners, and let's get this done.